Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. Want to talk about the auto industry. Some interesting data coming out. I've been talking about things that I've been learning from other people, talking with people in the insiders in the industry, both on the dealership side and on the loan side, the auto loan side. And there's so many changes coming. And this story out of the hedge, it's entitled "Auto Crisis Worsens as Rate of Severely Delinquent Loans Hit 2009 Levels." Before I read that, I want people to understand that in 2009, that was at the peak. That was at peak pain, um, when people were getting rid of losing their homes, losing their automobiles that they had over leveraged, right? And we are now hitting those levels right now, which means we have the ability to see much worse data come out, right? Bigger defaults. And the thing is that there are people that need cars. Everybody needs a car if they have a job. They need to get to their work. Um, our country's blessed where have the ability to have cars. In other countries, very few people have cars, right? And but what this is going to do is severely hurt the economy, because the more auto loans that get written down, write downs from companies, the less they make, the more they have to lay people off. But then as people lose their cars, they get forced into much worse loans because they did make a bad decision, right? They over leveraged themselves. And now they are forced to buy cheaper vehicles at much higher rates with worse loan terms, right? Because their credit's getting affected. And this is going to get worse and worse as time goes on. Now, we've been getting excited because a lot of us out there, you and me included, have dream cars that we've always wanted. We want to get them at much better prices. And those times, they're coming, and they're coming fast. But as I read this, I want you to think about just truly the pure size and scope of this crisis that is going to unfold in 2023. Of course, unless the Federal Reserve and the government, and they're two separate entities, step in and become a white knight. I do not believe that is the case. All right, here we go. It says an alarming number of Americans with auto loans are struggling to make monthly payments. Auto loan performance saw further deterioration in December, and loan delinquencies jumped. Of all loans, severely delinquent ones have reached the highest rate since the financial crisis about 15 years ago. Recall last month we pointed out that the auto sector finds itself in a critical inflection point as crushing auto loans loan crisis nears. The note was titled "Perfect Storm Arrives." It provides readers with a roadmap of how the dominoes might fall into triggering what Tesla CEO Elon Musk recently warned, potentially the biggest financial crisis ever. And I could not agree more. I believe that you are going to see there's always a triggering event, right? There's pressure as an economy starts to hit that crescendo moment or hits that precipice and starts to collapse, right? We're in collapse right now in this economic cycle. And just, it's going to come back up after time. There's always, the sun always rises, right? It's always sets and it always rises. Those are the things that you can guarantee. But we're always trying to time when human beings always wanting to time when things are at their worst so that you can buy in at the lowest price. Well, I will tell you this, the public is becoming aware because of news stories like this, and it's all over the mainstream. More and more people are aware. That's why you go to an auto lot right now and inventory is increasing. Why? Even if they're not getting their normal allotments of cars, vehicles, or what they're used to in the past, even if the supply chain is still damaged, those automobiles are stacking up in the dealership because you do not see anyone walking the lot because auto sales are down. All right. So we are seeing this crash right now. We are documenting it because I want you ready for the next cycle. I want you to build it. This is a big cycle. It's going to crash. We're going to make lots of money. We're going to buy stuff cheap. But then you have to remember, it's going to happen again 7 to 10 years later. And so I want people to understand cycles so they can start to get this rhythm in their mind and control over their emotions before they go out and buy stuff they can't afford, just like so many Americans did with these cars. Now it says new bone-chilling data via Cox Automotive sheds light on the rapidly deteriorating auto loan market. The report says that loans delinquent by more than 2 months increased by 5.3% and jumped 26% from a year ago. That's absolutely staggering. It's insane. Cox Automotive said, even though an increasing amount of people are missing loan payments, this has yet to manifest into defaults. They're absolutely right. These defaults don't really start until 90 days or more. So we are going to see in the next 30 days where that data leads. And I believe it is going to go to even more of an increase in severely delinquent loans. And you are going to start to see even more repossessions. Now, another thing that's interesting, I want to take a little side note that most people aren't realizing is the banks understand how big of a deal this is. And they know how much they may have to take in write-downs. And there are going to be a lot of banks that try and work with people. But what they're going to do is they're going to entrap them in some big loans. You think that 7 years or possibly a 10-year car loan is big. I could foresee a 15-year car loan, and that is attached to something more collateralized than even your vehicle. And I wouldn't be surprised if you literally started to see banks go, look, we'll bail you out this time. We'll extend your loan, but we're going to attach this to your house. And there are going to be people that do it. And because the banks are going, the less we can hemorrhage money through write-downs, that's the less information that makes it to our shareholders. We can try and keep our shareholder base happy and keep our valuation. See, that's what lenders are thinking in the background. They're going, it's one thing to just repossess a car. It's another thing to affect your entire market cap, the market cap of your corporation, which means you now as the corporation has a harder time borrowing money to take that money and lend it out into the public. Okay, because your valuation is less. And that's what, white collared execs are thinking about constantly. That's what I think about with my companies. I want to make sure that their valuations stay strong in the event that I need to raise money. Very important that people understand that. Now it says right here, loan defaults declined 13.5% from November, but were up 16.9% from a year ago. The annualized auto loan default rate in December was 2.56%, which was lower than the 2.98% in December of 2019. The default rate in 2022 was 2.28%, up from a low of 1.98 last year, but still lower than the 2.9. Point being is this. A lot of people would say, oh, maybe we've hit a spot where things are going to get better in December. I do not believe so. Why? I believe that you are going to see higher auto loan rates in 2023, which is going to exacerbate the problem that much more. Why? Because the car prices, a lot of the dealers still have not come down because you're dealing with dealers like Carvana and CarMax that have bought so much inventory at high prices. Now, I think Carvana was in the news the other day because they literally slashed their prices on Tesla, and I think they sold like 25% of their entire Tesla inventory nationwide in, I think, one day. It was insane. But that news, they used the news to push those cars. When Tesla dropped their price, they said, okay, we're going to drop our price. But I believe that's just a little band-aid on the bigger problem, because I believe they still purchase those Teslas at way inflated prices, overvalued prices. And so they're just trying to, because they're hemorrhaging money right now, they're just trying to stay afloat. Man, I can't wait to see what happens with all those buildings they put up, those little car dispensing machines. That'd make an awesome office building. Anyway, my point being is that I think that we're going to see much lower prices in 2023 because we're going to see much higher loan rates in 2023, unless, of course, you see the industry change and go from a standard, was it 7-year loan or 5 to 7-year loan, and they go from like an 8 to 10-year loan. And that would only make auto prices hold their value. And when I say value, I mean that really lightly. All right, guys, that being said, I thank you so much for watching. The Economic Ninja is out.